All right, today we're diving into one of the absolute giants of world literature. You might know it as Dream of the Red Chamber, but it's also called The Story of the Stone. And trust me, that title is key.
So, the author, a guy named Cao Xueqin, kicks off his 18th century masterpiece with this, well, it's a kind of lament. It's like he's telling us right from the start that this story is deeply personal. It's basically a monument to the amazing women he knew when he was young, back before his very powerful family lost everything.
But here's the twist. The story doesn't actually start with the author or his family. Nope. It starts somewhere much, much older, in the world of myth, with a single, living, thinking stone.
And we're not talking about just any old rock. This one was created by the goddess Nuwa to literally repair a hole in the heavens. She made 36,501 of these magical stones, but one got left behind. Just imagine that. So this poor stone is just sitting there, feeling totally useless, and all it wants is a chance to see the human world. Well, its wish gets granted when a couple of mystical figures, a Buddhist monk and a Taoist priest, show up. They shrink it down into a beautiful piece of jade so it can finally enter what they call the red dust. You know, the messy, vibrant, chaotic world of human life.
And this is where it gets really clever. The entire novel we're about to explore, it's supposed to be the story that was found carved, word for word, right onto that stone. So what you're reading is the stone's own autobiography of its time on Earth. Kind of cool, right? So, what exactly did this stone witness?
Well, it turns out the stone is destined to play a part in a huge love story. But this isn't just any romance. This one started way, way before, up in the heavens.
So picture this. Up in the heavens, there's this divine flower, the crimson pearl flower, and it's withering away. But a celestial attendant, this guy named Xiangling, he waters it every single day with sweet dew and saves its life. Now, this simple act of kindness creates a kind of spiritual debt, and that debt has to be repaid.
So when Xiangling, the caretaker, decides he wants to go down and be reborn as a human, the Crimson Pearl Fairy is like, I have to go too. She decides she will repay his gift of life-giving water with a whole lifetime's worth of her own tears. It's an incredible idea, right? A debt of tears. And that magical piece of jade? Our stone. Yep, it's tagging along for this whole cosmic drama.
All right, so now that the cosmic stage is set, let's zoom out of the heavens and come crashing down to Earth. We land smack in the middle of 18th century China, and we're going to see everything through the eyes of our heroine, a young woman named Lin Daiyu.
So, Daiyu is the human version of that crimson pearl flower we just talked about. After her mother dies, she's sent to the capital to live with her grandmother. And she's not just moving in with any family. She's headed for the massive, powerful Rongguo mansion, home of the Jia clan. For her, it's like stepping onto another planet. She feels like a total outsider in this huge, confusing new world.
I mean, you have to understand, the sheer scale of this place is just mind-boggling. Daiyu comes from a pretty quiet, scholarly home. Suddenly, she's surrounded by insane luxury and a whole web of rules that nobody ever explains. It's completely overwhelming.
And just as she's trying to take it all in, this loud, laughing voice just slices through the super formal atmosphere. And that's how Daiyu meets Wang Shifeng. Let me tell you, Shifeng is a force of nature. She's brilliant, beautiful, and she runs the entire household's finances with an iron fist. She's basically the queen of this whole operation.
So Daiyu is just starting to get her bearings when her aunt pulls her aside. She gives her a warning about one person she absolutely needs to watch out for. Her cousin, the heir to the family fortune, Jia Baoyu.
They call him the Scourge of the World, or Devil Incarnate. I mean, what a nickname, right? He's supposedly this spoiled, lazy brat who absolutely refuses to study and just wants to hang out with his girl cousins all day. He sounds like a real piece of work. And then he walks into the room.
And this is where you see the huge contradiction at the heart of his character. On the one hand, he's just stunningly beautiful and incredibly charming. But by the standards of his time and his society, he's a total failure, a good-for-nothing. For Daiyu, though, the moment she sees him, it's this jolt, this shock of recognition.
It's so strange. They've never, ever met in this life, but they both feel it instantly, this deep, powerful connection. It's like a memory from another lifetime. And of course, now we know why. Baoyu is the human form of Xiangling, the celestial caretaker.
Baoyu immediately asks Daiyu if she has a piece of jade, like the one he was born with. When she says no, he just flips out. He has this massive tantrum, rips the magical jade from his own neck, and smashes it on the floor. He's screaming that if a divine sister like her doesn't have one, then his must be completely worthless. And right there, in that crazy, dramatic moment, their fated, tear-filled relationship really truly begins.
Okay, so we have this intense personal drama unfolding. But what's so important to understand is that this isn't happening in a vacuum. Not at all. The Jia family sits at the center of this huge, tangled web of power and influence. Think of it like this. When a new official gets assigned to the area, they're handed a secret list. It's basically an official protecting amulet, like a get-out-of-jail-free card for the super elite. It tells them exactly which powerful families they are not to mess with, ever. These families are completely above the law.
And these 4 great families, they're all tied together. Take our main guy, Jia Baoyu. His mother is from the Wang family. He's related to all 4 of these massive clans, either by blood or by marriage. So they basically act like one giant entity, protecting each other and making sure there are never any consequences for their actions.
And this isn't just some abstract idea of corruption, it's real, and it's the very foundation that this whole luxurious world is built on. In fact, it's what lets another one of their cousins, a guy named Su Pan, literally get away with murder right at the beginning of the book. It's a huge red flag, a clear sign of the moral rot hiding underneath all that gold and jade. And it's this deep crack in the foundation that tells us this whole magnificent structure is doomed to fall.
And that really sets up the central tragedy of the entire novel. When a family's power is built on a lie and a love story is literally fated to be paid for in tears, what can the end be but a dream? Everything we've seen so far, the power, the riches, the love, it's all as beautiful and as temporary as a dream. And believe me, we are just getting started.